You can tell me all day what you value, but show me your calendar and I'll tell you what you actually prioritize. How CEOs manage their time and their calendar to allow them to maximize results is incredibly important. I've been a huge proponent of routines and time blocking and setting yourself up for success in order to accomplish wild results in business and life. The truth is, so few people actually have intentional structure for their days. I see it happen all the time, and it might be you. You wake up, you work hard, you go to sleep, you do repeat and you repeat and you repeat and you repeat. And then you don't get where you want to get to because you don't have an intentional GPS guiding you there. It takes massive discipline and monotony to grow a company. What I mean by that is it takes boring work done repetitively over very long periods of time to build success. People think it's flashy and it's exciting and it's cool stuff. No, it is not. What really builds business is the boring stuff done consistently over time. But you have to maximize results based on what works for you. Morning routine, night routine, meetings, no meetings. There is not a rule of thumb, but I'm gonna give you 3 things to consider when it comes to maximizing your time. First, you have to understand when you're at your best. Some people are better in the morning, some people are better in the afternoon, some people are better at night. When are you at your best? When do you feel the most creative? When do you feel the most responsive? When do you feel the most free to be available? There is not like, oh, you gotta get up at 4 a.m. That is me. I'm a morning guy. I do my best work when I get up at 5:30, I do my morning routine, and I'm ready to go by 9 a.m. I know many of successful CEOs that don't start meetings till after lunch. They want to sleep in and get up whenever their body lets them get up. They want to take their time. They want to go to the gym later in the morning. They have a different routine. I know some people that get up at 6 a.m. and go straight to their computer and start working to get things knocked out before they go to the gym. There's not a rule here, okay? I'm not suggesting there's one way to build, but you have to know when are you most effective and creative. I know some people that do their best work after 9 p.m. You just got to figure out your block. And then everything has to get built around that. The routine to get prepared, the routine to be consistent, the routine to get everybody around you understanding, but you have to know what's best for you first. The truth is, I don't know the right way to determine that. I found what worked for me and I stuck with it for the last 10 years. But most people I think know when they find flow state in the day, when ideas are just flowing, communication is flowing, the brain fog is gone, you're able to sit down and focus. And maybe different seasons of life require different things. Maybe you want to be the guy who takes their kids to school and picks them up from school every day. Well, cool. Those are 2 major distractions in the heart of a work day. You need to build a routine where you can be creative and confident and in flow state outside of that. Part of the life season you're in is important. But number 1 rule, when am I most effective on my company? Not in it. Okay, we're talking about CEOs here. We're not talking about sales managers. I'm not talking about operations managers. I'm not talking about collecting money. I'm talking about as a CEO, you've built a business. You have a leadership team. I am currently CEO of 3 companies. I lead over 100 people, $70, $80 million in revenue. And I'm not in any department. My job is to be the best I can be on a cadence to give my leadership team what they need. If you don't have a leadership team, you don't get to be CEO yet, man. You got a job to do. You got to go sell, you got to go produce, you got to go manage finances, cash flow, hiring, firing, you got to do all that stuff. This is specifically around CEOs. Because here's the truth. When you finally manage and lead and execute and develop a company that doesn't need you anymore, you go into a very uncomfortable position of not knowing what to do with your time. So figuring out when you are most effective is a first place to start. So test and try different things. Try the morning, try the afternoon, try sleeping in. Figure out what works for you, but figure out when you're most creative and confident and ability to deliver and execute for your team. First step, figure out your sweet spot. Second, start to time block certain activities around your sweet spot to get yourself ready and to transition. This is really important. I am huge on warming up for an activity the same way every time so that you perform the same way every time. So I have a morning routine that I follow. I get up, I work out, I read, I sauna, I cold plunge, I eat breakfast. It's probably 90 minutes to 2 hours. Like that, because I'm not rushing it. I'm taking my time. Like I typically sauna for 30 minutes. I cold lunch for 5, eat breakfast 30 with the kids. Like it's about a 2-hour process. So I know I need to be out of bed at 5:30 and done by 8, which allows me to be ready to go at 9. My morning is when I'm most productive. I even shoot these videos in the morning because it's when I'm the most energetic. My flow state, my mental fog, my mental clarity this is the best I am. When I get to 4 o'clock in the afternoon after having coaching all day, meetings all day, running shit all day, I'm not as energetic. I don't have the same mental clarity. I am not as communicative. I'm not as interested in solving your fucking problems. Like I'm over it. Like, and so I know that. But what's important to me is I then have to set myself up, execute my sweet spot, and then transition to other roles. As a CEO, it is very likely you're also trying to be a husband, a wife, a parent, a friend, a child of parents. Like you're likely have other roles that are important. Maybe you have hobbies like golf or shooting or cars or whatever it is. Pickleball's blowing up. Maybe you're a pickleball all-star. You have to have a process and a time block to transition out of CEO role. As a CEO, you're constantly visualizing, you're constantly in the groove, you're constantly in the grind, you're constantly trying to improve. You just can't turn your brain off sometimes. Well, that can become counterproductive to other roles in your life. And so I have a setup routine and I have a transition routine around my sweet spot. So once you define your sweet spot, you got, in my opinion, time blocks related to building boundaries to get yourself ready to go, and boundaries and time blocks around transitioning into the next role. And this needs to be on a daily occurrence. Your ability to be prepared to execute and then have the ability to turn it off and transition. And look, some days you're just not gonna be able to turn it off. Like some days there's problems, some days there's lawsuits, some days there's bullshit, some days there's people stealing from you, some days there's somebody, like quits or hired, whatever. There's always something. Some days you're not gonna be able to transition into the other roles effectively. But I challenge you, if as actual CEO, is to set yourself up to prepare whatever that routine is for. Maybe you want to walk, maybe you want to meditate, maybe you want to read, maybe you want to work out, maybe you don't. Maybe you're most creative at 6 a.m. and that's when you want to focus on the CEO task. And by 9 o'clock you're done, and then you from 9 to 12 you're doing your whatever. You're going to the gym, you're doing your thing, whatever it is. But you want to be able to transition into and out of CEO mindset. You never really turn it off, but it's very difficult to be present with your family, present with your hobbies, present with yourself, and enjoy the other fruits of life if you're constantly in CEO role. What I would also suggest doing is making sure that you are stopping at some point to debrief how you're executing. Is what I'm having built work? Every 90 days, I analyze my calendar. Is my calendar suiting who I want to be, how I want to be, how I want to show up? Is my team getting the best version of me? And the reality is in Q1, I had built so much things for me to do in so many places. I was not performing the way I needed to. I was underperforming. I was low energy. I'm like, that has to change. April made it change. May, feeling better. And what I had to do was remove some things. Maybe there's some things inside your calendar right now that are causing you to minimize results because you're trying to do too much. Maybe there's too many things on the calendar. There's too much that require your input. Too many things that require your decision-making responsibility. And it's wearing you out to the point where you are not effective in the things that need your attention. So once you build that, debriefing or analyzing the execution, I'm going to say, am I maximizing results for me and my team in this routine or meeting cadence? And that meeting cadence isn't just work meetings, date nights, exercise, going golfing, working out, reading, meditating, sitting by the pool with your kids, whatever, watching movies. When I say meetings, this isn't just work meetings. These are time dedicated to all roles in your life. Am I performing the way I want to in each of those time blocks? The answer is no. You need to analyze and adjust. You need to pull some things out, delegate some things to your leadership team, give up some control. This is a hard one. You might have to give up some control on some stuff. But for you to really maximize results, your day needs to have the right amount of effort, the right amount of time spent in each role of your life, the right amount of time spent in inside the business with your leadership team, outside the business, being creative. Because there's nothing that creates better things for your business than you having the freedom to separate from the day-to-day and visualize and be creative and be in flow state and be away from the distractions of the day-to-day runnings of your company. If you want to maximize results, that's the process I would take. and it's not one size fits all. Okay. I used to be more direct on like morning routine, get up early, maximize your day. Well, the reality is I was really good at working 18 hours a day. I was very efficient at getting a lot done in the day, but I wasn't maximizing results. I was getting results, but I wasn't able to maximize them because I was pouring so much out. Everybody was getting a diluted version of me. So I was getting results. I was moving the needle. I was making things happen. But the truth was I wasn't getting the best results possible because I was trying to get too many things done every single day. So set yourself up, be in your flow state, transition roles, be successful in life. Because maximizing results as a CEO is not just in business. It's in business and life. Because your family needs you, your friends need you, your hobbies need you. You need you to find a way to build harmony between all the roles that are necessary. So try that. Do the work, build the slots, build the blocks, build the boundaries, build the discipline, and take action quickly so that you can maximize results and win fast and win often.